All right, hello everyone. All right, it's another day, another launch, guys. Welcome to our prompter Q&A stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the trailer that you guys just saw. If you guys are new here, my name is Jasmine, and I'm the senior community specialist at Elgato. Today we have Phil and Jeff here with us. If you guys would like to introduce yourself for everyone that's new here.
Yeah, Phil, you want to go first?
You say I want to go first. Yes. Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Phil. I was just on last week. I'm back again to talk to you guys about a really cool product that we're all actually using right now. And what I do at Elgato is I get to enjoy talking about our products in a more technical capacity.
My name is Steggy. It's been a while since I've been on stream, actually. I forget the last product launch, but I think that was it. Stream Deck Mobile 2.0, maybe? I don't know. In any case, I'm a product manager and the product owner of Prompter. So while we kind of have a bunch of people working on every product, I was kind of like you call it the product owner. I don't know what else you'd call it, but yeah. So I'm quite familiar with the product, and then I also do Elgato videos. So if you watch our YouTube channel, you might recognize my face. If so, what's up?
And basically, we can thank Jeff that Prompter even happened.
That's true. That's very true. All right, so as you guys have already guessed, on today's agenda, we'll be showcasing Prompter and answering as many questions about Prompter. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat and we'll queue up those questions. With that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into it. So guys, what is Prompter?
I'd say Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, so Prompter is short for a teleprompter. It's it's quite a long bridge between the two words. Yeah. But a teleprompter is a device that's been in the broadcast world for a really long time. But over the past few years, it's been really applicable towards content creators. And essentially what it does is it lets you make eye contact with your camera whilst you are seeing other things. So like instead of just looking at it like a naked camera lens, I'm looking at a TV screen right now. So right now I'm looking at Phil, I'm looking at the stream preview, I'm looking at myself, and I've got chat overlaying on there. And the reason why you can't see that, or it looks like I'm looking, is because I'm using a teleprompter, which the secret is called beam splitter glass, which is basically like a one-way mirror. If you've ever seen like a cop show where they throw the perp into an interrogation room and they're looking through the glass, but the perp only sees a mirror. It's a very similar concept. So what I'm seeing is a reflection. What the camera sees is just me. So the camera is the cop, I'm the perp. But instead of, just looking at myself, I'm throwing up, whatever's on my computer. So, news anchors or like people giving speeches will normally throw speeches on there because if you're trying to cover a lot of points, speaking off the cuff can be pretty hard, especially if you have a lot of those filler words like or which if I'm speaking off the cuff, I'm very guilty of that. And I'll still do it because I'm not using a script or anything. I'm just reading chat. So yeah, that's been used for like the news and stuff like that for years. But if you watch our YouTube videos and if you've seen me talking, pretty much I would say 99% of our videos I've used a teleprompter. There have been certain situations where like I've like for one reason or another, I'll just like say a couple of lines and then I'll just like look at my phones for the other if I know there's going to be a lot of screen recordings or whatnot. But yeah, 99% of our videos I've been using a prompter. So I've been using one for nearly a decade now for YouTube because it's very similar to like a news broadcast. And yeah, and now there's new uses like Twitch and Zoom. So
I think the number one question that chat has had so far is, are we all using Prompter? And what's the definitive answer?
Yes.
We are all right now using Prompter. Come here. Let me tell you a little secret. We're all using Prompter right now.
Oh,
all
my.
of us.
All of us, everyone,
Yeah.
all three of us here.
So,
go ahead,
I would
Phil.
say, like, how's it look? How does it look? I mean, we are...
Are we creeping you out?
I can see Jasmine, and I can read the chat. So, what's going on, guys? I'm talking with you. I'm talking with Jeff. I'm not talking like over here, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking with you guys. We can actually chat together.
We can. We definitely can. How's it looking for everyone here? Let me go ahead and see the Zoom. Everyone's saying it looks great. Stop looking into the windows of my soul. Oh my god, we're staring. Someone's terrified. Oh man. Alright. With that being said, so either I believe Phil, would you like to share your screen?
Yes, let me do that. There we go. Actually, I can. I'll do this one for now. Yeah, so let's take a quick tour of Prompter, and we'll just go down the page and cover it a little bit. So Jeff gave you a bit of an overview of kind of what a teleprompter is, and ours is our take on a teleprompter. And I think Harris Heller put it really nicely in his video that we might not be always first. But when we put out a product, something like, teleprompters have been around for a number of years, right? At this point, we're talking about like 40 plus years, or something like that. And, there's never been a really great teleprompter for personal use, right? And this is essentially personal use right here, right? Something that's in your setup, maybe at home or maybe even in an office or that type of environment that just you are using. You're not in a professional studio. So this is our take on a teleprompter that does that.
Yeah. So, I mean, at Elgato, Phil and I have been at Elgato for, I think, Phil, you've probably hit a decade at this point. I'm nearly there. And even before, like, I was on the product team, like, Elgato's always been kind of like an open doors company. And so, like, Phil and myself have been creators for a number of years. So we would stream on Twitch or create YouTube videos. And so a lot of the things that you see that come into products that you're like, wow, this really solves this issue that I've had. It's because we've run into that issue. You know what I mean? A key light like the desk mount. That's because we used to live in San Francisco and I couldn't fit a light in my tiny shoebox of an apartment. So it's like, how could I? And it's like, what if we throw it on the desk and, move it up basically? So it's like those kinds of things that we identify just from being creators ourselves and applying towards our products so we can solve these issues for everybody else. Yeah. And so, kind of what Phil was saying, like in the professional world, broadcast, teleprompters are not news, right? But the problem is those teleprompters are thousands of dollars most of the time, and they're really bulky because they're used in these studios where you generally have a guy sitting at a seat, like, controlling the camera and the teleprompter, and they'll wheel them around and everything like that. And so maybe like 5+ years ago, they started making cheap teleprompters that utilize iPads or Android tablets or phones as the screen. So they make the actual teleprompter part cheaper, but then you still need to provide your own kind of display. So your total system cost is still kind of high, but it's a, huge improvement over paying like $2,000, $3,000 for a thing this huge. But there are a lot of shortcomings that came with it, mostly due to, with a smaller prompter size, they either have limited compatibility with cameras, period. So a lot of the kind of like, Parrot Padcasters, like the brand that I always remember for these kind of prompters, those target mirrorless cameras or DSLR cameras only, where you dock the prompter, you rest it onto the lens. And so if you're using like a webcam or a camcorder, you really can't use that type of prompter with it. The other issue those types of smaller prompters have is they have a kind of narrow field of view. So if you want a nice wide angle, you end up catching like the edges of the prompter because like it's just too wide. And so it starts to, it's sort of like, if you watch a TV show and somebody's looking through the peephole of a door and you see that barrel, it's a very similar effect to that. And so, there's like basically in our use of teleprompters, there are all these kinds of shortcomings from the professional side and the iPad, iPhone side. And we knew that we could basically solve those issues if we made our own. So that's essentially what we wanted to do. It's like we use prompters. And so we were like, let's make one that we would be happy to use. That was sort of like the philosophy going into it. And I think that we've done a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, and the number one thing, the kind of why even use a teleprompter, and especially, our prompter here is going to be, eye contact and essentially making more personal content. So that could be in a live stream like this where we're, using prompter to read the chat and engage with you guys while we're also, looking at each other. And that just creates a much more personal feeling. we've all been, on those Zoom calls in, meetings or whatever it might be, right? Maybe you've been in lessons and everyone, again, is looking off to the side or they're looking off camera. And it's different when you're in person and you're actually talking with someone, right? You're usually looking at the other person. Well, we've lost that over the last couple of years in particular, right? With COVID, everyone's staying at home. We've really lost that looking at the other person. And that really makes a big difference. There have been some software solutions that do a decent job, right? They basically will move your eyes and kind of fake it and all of that, but nothing beats the real deal. And in this case, this is the real deal, right? I am looking kind of at you, and the camera is seeing me through the prompter glass, and I can still see, everything going on. So really that's the nice thing that prompter brings, is that you can have a real conversation again with another person. You're not just having a conversation with your monitor or a conversation with your laptop display.
Yeah, I mean, like there's so many uses that you can actually use a prompter for that we've discovered, where I've personally wanted a prompter ever since I started using them, because I knew like, wow, I really don't like these things and I wish I could fix them, and making it ourselves is the only way I know how. But it's really over the past couple of years with things like using prompters for Twitch or Zoom calls or whatever, is where like there started to be enough kind of draws to like enough different types of uses, where making a prompter then becomes interesting, because you don't want to build a product that only like 10 people are going to want to buy. So you have to think of like, okay, is this something that we're fixing a problem that like a decent amount of people are having? And especially after 2020, so many people connecting with video conferences, that eye contact is really important. But one of the things I remember Sam Woodhull had tweeted, and it's the truth for me too. He had started using a prompter, and when you write your script and you just deliver it, especially when you have experience with it, the amount of time you save versus like going off the cuff or like writing your notes and kind of like trying to remember each passage, you'll cut your time recording your A-roll in half. So when you see a YouTube video where somebody's talking, like let's say me, for example, if I'm making a 10-minute YouTube video for Elgato and I'm not using a prompter, I'm probably recording for 40-45 minutes in order to get that footage, because there's all these mess ups where I can't remember what I'm doing, or I'm focused so much on trying to remember that like I do something weird that I want to do like a retake. When you have a teleprompter and you can basically just kind of read the text and focus more on how you're presenting it, it takes a little bit of practice at first, but it really speeds it up. So now when I'm doing like a 10-minute video, it'll take me maybe 15-16 minutes, because like I'll still make mistakes, right? And depending on like the types of prompters you use, there could be like weird idiosyncrasies, because like before we had this prompter, I would use a smartphone prompter, which didn't really have any kind of like foot pedal or like Stream Deck control. So it would do like voice control, which like sounds really convenient. But then the problem is, if it thinks you're saying something that's in like the next line, it'll like jump ahead a paragraph, and then you're like, oh shit. So like I forgot that I had tweeted a buddy of like a clip that I had when I started swearing, because my prompter did that on me. And he's like, let me guess, this is when you decided you wanted to make your own prompter, was after this. And so they're it's not always like 100% foolproof, but like essentially it's cut my time by like 60 to 70% of how long it'll take me to film a video. So not only do you get like the better connection if you're doing Twitch or Zoom, but if you're doing YouTube or presentations, like if you're doing like a PowerPoint presentation for work, the amount of time it saves you to deliver your message is just so much.
Yeah. And I think let me switch back here to my screen share. So one of the big things with Prompter, again, is that it's an all-in-one package. You get everything you need to start using Prompter, right? With a lot of other personal prompters out there, you will need to supply some sort of display. Usually that's going to be your iPhone or an iPad, or not even iPhone, right? Just some sort of mobile device. And at that point, it really, it's kind of limiting. You're taking your phone and you're putting it, I'm actually holding it up. Of course, you can't see it now. But you're putting that, you're using that to put your script on. It's kind of hard to near impossible to actually show what's on your desktop, right? So you don't get that third screen or second screen experience like you do with Prompter. And then it's a fumbly mess. In fact, I've even had my when I was using a prompter with an iPad back in the day, it actually fell off the little thing that was holding it, and it was just bad. And so prompter includes a display right in the package. It's built right in, and this display has a resolution of 1024 by 600, right, or 1024 by 600, and it's a 9-inch diagonal display. And what this display acts like when you connect it to your computer is literally just another monitor. The same way you might have your main display and maybe you have a second monitor, you plug in prompter, it becomes a third monitor. So at that point, it's kind of up to you what you want to put on it. We include in our camera hub software, which we'll touch on a little bit later, some different modes. We have a display mode, which, like I was saying, is just you can put anything on it that you want. We also have a text mode, which is our own bespoke text editing kind of implementation and script. So basically you can paste a script in there. It'll do scroll speed and margin size, opacity, text, all of that. And then there's also chat mode. And chat mode is what I think the three of us here are actually using right now. And essentially what chat mode does is it'll overlay the chat onto prompter. And what does that actually look like? Well, I can switch over here and I can actually show you, this is my view. You guys are seeing exactly what is being shown on prompter to me right now. So you can see there's you guys, there's chat, right? Man, this would revolutionize streaming for me. Says select screen, right? Miriam Creative says, will it be a discount, question mark, right? I can read it. Yes, you're seeing yourself. Hi YouTube, hi mom, what are the hi Twitch, what are the typical things? But this is what I'm also seeing. And now I can also change this, right? If I wanted to, I could also change it over to, let's say, just the display, right? So chat is off. So this is what I could be seeing. I could be seeing Jeff there. I could be seeing Jasmine, or I can go to the text mode and then maybe change the opacity. Here's a script that I've got going, and then maybe I can start reading the script. And then I'll just go back to chat, set that opacity back to something like that. And yeah, so that is a quick demo of the three modes, and that's really the power of prompter that you're not going to find in other solutions, is because we understand from our own use cases, right, and from using them ourselves, what we need, what you guys need, what we need as creators, and so that's kind of the special sauce there. Together with, of course, just a single cable connection, right? I mean, that's pretty cool too, just a single USB cable. That is pretty dope.
The big thing is, like, this is the prompter you want, where I keep saying, like, the teleprompter. I'm going to conflate the two terms so often now, but this is the teleprompter you'd want if you're at your desk, right? Because let's say that you had one of those phone prompters. There's no way that, like, you can display your Zoom call, because if you were to join your Zoom call on your phone, then you would need to, like, there's no way to, like, get your headset connected to your phone at the same time to do all that and to get your webcam on there. It'd be like a really involved type of setup in order to do that. Or if you're trying to run like a Twitch stream, I've seen people use their phones to try to, like, pull up the URLs to do that, and you just lose all of that, like, customizability. So when we were kind of building this, and our boss, like the head of Elgato, he had tweeted, like, an old conversation that we had because I was talking about, like, the Twitch integration for Camera Hub to build out, basically. And there are all these apps like Chatterino, or there's another one that's really popular. It looks kind of like old school Windows, but there are all these different, like, chat apps that let you have, like, a different options to view your chat, but none of them have good text scaling options, which is really important because when you're dealing with a smaller screen, you want to be able to control the size of your text so you can read everything super easily. Chatty, that was the other one. So, I tried Chatty, I tried Chatterino. They were the two most popular, and they unfortunately did not have the text scaling options that I was hoping for. And if you just do Windows scaling, it actually gets worse because, like, the little text input dialog box gets really big, and then it shrinks your chat so you can only see, like, one line at a time. Here, I can probably see 10 to 12 or so lines at my current size. So, like, it's very comfortable. I can see exactly what people are saying while looking at Phil and everything. So I can see Will Prompter be able to integrate with automated chatbot systems like StreamerBot and mix it up. I mean, right now we already have, like, a laundry list of features that we're going to be adding to Camera Hub to embolden prompter, but we're also taking in suggestions as well. The place to do that, one of the best places is our Discord server. Just because there's like something written, it doesn't just like get thrown out into the ether, right? Because that Twitch message, like my memory is a little bad. I'm not going to remember that message that, now that it's gone and everything, right? So the best way is to hit up us up on socials, like Twitter, or through our Discord server. And, we're happy to take a look at every possible feature to add to this, because, if you've owned an Elgato product before, software is like one of the most special parts of the products that we offer. I've owned a lot of tech products, and a lot of tech products can get really bad with age. I have like Sonos speakers that just like continuously lost function after function after each software update. But you own a Stream Deck, right, from Elgato, and it just gets better every single day from the day that you bought it, because there are more and more plugins that are added, so there's more capabilities. And somebody who bought a Stream Deck day one in 2017 has just as much functionality as somebody who buys a Stream Deck today. So, same thing with our microphones. And so the same thing with Prompter. We hope that if you buy a Prompter today, it's going to be a way better product a year from now, as we continue to bring out updates.
Yeah, I think.
All right, so right now we do have a lot of questions. There's a lot of amazing questions for the community right now.
Let's bring it.
First one that I've seen a lot about. This is gonna be a question from Vic. They're wondering, will the prompter work with Facecam and Facecam Pro?
So that actually leads us perfectly, I think, in a topic we haven't really touched on. So we talked about the display, we talked about beam splitting glass. I showed you a little sneak preview of the software and kind of that feature. But what about camera mounting, right? And again, this is perfect. Does it work with Facecam? What cameras does it work with? And just generally, how do you attach your camera? How does that work? So I'm going to jump over here into another, let's see, window. Perhaps I can actually queue this up for you, Jeff. Let's see. There we go. That is Prompter right there. So I actually have some control here. And I can go through different, actually, do I? I do. I'll just do this. We'll do it like this. So yeah, we have, this is a side view of the prompter, right? Actually, Jeff, do you want to take this one and kind of talk through, the mounting options and the different types of hardware that we have and what's included?
Yeah, so I mean, a question that I saw that was kind of common is it, it's the last piece of chat I'm seeing here right now, is like, is it only compatible with Elgato cameras, or does it work with more? One of the things that we actually, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Okay. My OBS is frozen.
Uh-oh.
So that's why
we can see technical difficulties. We can see.
Yeah, so maybe my camera.
All right, anyways.
Yeah, I'm going to go cameraless for a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. I'm glad I put that little technical difficulties in, because it's very apropos. So one of the things that was really important to us when we were developing Prompter was to make sure that it was compatible with as many cameras as possible. So honestly, I'd be hard pressed to find any Prompter that has more compatibility than ours, especially for its size. Because most of those prompters, again, will only kind of work with lenses that can like support the weight of a prompter, whereas ours allows you to mount webcams. So when you mentioned Facecam and Facecam Pro, we actually started playing with we include a dedicated backplate just for Facecam Pro. So basically it fits like a glove, and it gives you a really nice sleek setup that you can mount the Facecam Pro in there. Now, if you have a Facecam or another webcam, you can still mount it completely fine on Prompter, because we have this system. It's an interchangeable backplate system, where basically you can unscrew 2 thumb screws on the back of Prompter, and then you can take off the backplate and replace it with another. So one of them is our universal backplate, and it's got a little cloth shroud over it. So if you ever remembered, if you ever saw like a TV show where they're in like the 1800s, and there's like that old-timey photographer, he's under a blanket. It's basically that same concept. And so that shroud allows you to basically work with any other camera, because like as long as your camera has a 1/4 inch thread that can mount on that camera bracket, you throw the shroud over it and it will work with prompter.
Trying to see if we have a
So
picture of that actually somewhere. Do we have the shroud? I don't think so. Not on here, maybe. Then we don't. Yeah, we don't have the cloth shroud image on here. But over one of these, you will. Yeah, you would have that. Over the camera, the DSLR one, right? Or actually, no, sorry, the universal shroud. Yeah, that one, or the universal bracket. Do you have one that you could actually show off?
yeah, so what I believe happened, I think my camera just overheated because I think I left it in 4K mode. And yeah, let me see if I can get it going again. I might just need to change some settings.
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, so really mounting
Yeah, so
is a
rant for a little bit, and I'll
absolutely.
work on this.
Since we're doing this live, right, chat? So, you know, mounting is a big topic, and there's always this kind of concern around, you know, what cameras do work, which ones, you know, how does it mount? Will it, you know, what is included? And we can say that, you know, with relative certainty that we've covered something like 90% of cameras out there in terms of the mounting hardware that's included. So as you can see in this kind of rotating image, we include these different back plates that will essentially adapt to whatever camera you're using. So let's say you're using a DSLR. Well, there's a ring back plate where the DSLR, or the prompter rather, kind of hangs on the front of the DSLR. And then you have the Facecam Pro backplate, which is specifically for the Facecam Pro, and that slots in real nicely, as you can see there. And then we also have the universal shroud backplate. Now, this shroud, or this backplate, basically gives you compatibility with any webcam, all-in-one camera, camcorder, action camera, right? Something like a GoPro, or if you were using like a DJI, right? Something smaller like that. And we are also building out a list, right? So that way, if you were to check, okay, does my camera work with prompter? This list doesn't cover literally every single camera, but let me find the link here. It should be, there it is. Is my camera compatible? I can click on that, and I'm gonna zoom out here. And very similar to our Camlink 4K compatibility page, we've done a lot of our own testing for different cameras and different lenses. And so you can go through here and you can actually check if the camera that you have has been tested by us or by the community. And the way this works is we've got different, like kind of a rating system. So you'll see the camera name and the manufacturer. It'll say ring backplate compatible. And that is, of course, you know, does it work with the ring backplate, or is it universal backplate compatible? And, you know, that's the one that most cameras will work with, or sorry, most webcams will work with. And then you can also check who it was verified by. And this is somewhat important because if it says Elgato, that's like our stamp of approval that, you know, someone at Elgato, probably Steggy or I, we check this camera and, you know, it works. It works 100%, like guaranteed, or maybe in some cases it doesn't work, and we'll explain why it doesn't work. There's also verified by the manufacturer. Sometimes we'll work with different camera manufacturers. They'll actually give us the information that we're looking for, or they'll actually send us the cameras to test. And lastly, there's community. And so what we have is we have a feedback form. So let's say that you don't see your camera on here. You actually go out and you purchase Prompter. You can contribute feedback to this page. So you can tell us, you know, I bought Prompter, I used it with, you know, XYZ camera, and it works great. Then we can use that information. We'll do a double check, you know, we'll just make sure that everything's correct, and then we'll put it out on the page. So if you see that a camera has been verified by community, it basically means that it's probably good, but, you know, maybe do a little bit of your own research just to check. And, you know, the one thing that we obviously aren't going to shy away from is also, you know, you're going to see on here, there's a Razer camera, there's Logitech, there's AverMedia, right? You've got Dell, Insta, right? All these different webcams, because the reality is you guys are going to be using these different webcams with Prompter. And of course, Prompter is compatible with most of these. Now, you will see that some of them have some different ratings here. So we basically have full, partial, or not compatible. And some cameras will have a status LED, or actually most webcams will have a status LED on them to indicate, you know, if there's video being streamed from that camera, or if the video feed is being accessed. On Facecam and Facecam Pro, you can disable that. On most other webcams, you can't. And so that might cause that you can see the LED through the glass, or even that it creates a little bit of light inside of the prompter, which isn't great. And so we just give you a little bit of information right here. We also have, of course, the list is still growing, but we just started out with the Sony ZV-1 and the ZV-1F. So, we've got a bunch of information here about USB-C connection, dummy battery, quick release plate would help. So I just recommend that. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, this entire list is just my personal camera collection. So if I was chatting with somebody, they're like, "Why isn't there any Canon cameras on here?" I'm like, I was like in an abusive relationship with Canon for years, and I ditched them, so I don't have any current Canon cameras. I'm a Sony guy. So as we get more feedback from the community, we'll obviously be populating the list with much more entries.
Yeah.
Or perhaps we'll just get loaner units from Canon themselves.
And there's some criteria we use again around the compatibility, right? Green or fully compatible essentially means that you can hook up prompter or hook up the camera to prompter, or in case of the DSLR backplate, the ring backplate, you can hook it on and it just works. You don't need to zoom in, you don't need to crop in, you don't need to do anything fancy. We'll put a warning if there's something that you should take into consideration. For example, it might need, a certain, like, let's say here on the Tamron, right? It's zoomed out, not supported through the ring. So basically with this lens, you have to zoom in a little bit. Otherwise it'll actually catch the outside of prompter.
Wait, which one? Wait,
this
hold
is
on.
The Tamron 1728 f2.8.
Yeah, so using the ring back plate, because the lens is a little farther back with the ring back plate, you do have to zoom into around 21, maybe 22 millimeters, depending on your lens. But if you're using the universal back plate and the camera bracket, then you can push the camera like closer to the glass. And so you can actually get that full 17 to 28 with that particular lens from my own testing. So I know that we say like up to 20 millimeters, but you can actually push it a little further. Like 17 millimeters is nuts.
Yeah. And so, that receives a partial compatibility rating. So it's not that it doesn't work. It's just basically us telling you, hey, there's some information that you should probably check out if you're going to use this camera or this lens. And then there are those unfortunate ones that just simply do not work. So for example, here we've got the quite old at this point, I believe the C910. Which doesn't have a mount point, if I'm seeing this correctly. So it basically doesn't include a 1/4-inch thread. So there's really no way that you could like tape it but
yeah.
Basically that's not an out of the box great experience, right? You have to do something going out of your way to get this thing to mount to prompter.
Okay.
So that's why we'll give it a not compatible rating.
So the one thing, Phil, I can't see if you already did it, because when we work on a launch, we're working right up to the last second. So one of the things that we still want to update here is there is something to keep in mind with webcams. Now, this isn't to knock the other camera companies. It's just we got to disclose fully. So every webcam has what's called like a status LED. So like when you turn the power on, there's a little LED button that glows. Facecam and Facecam Pro have it. Now, just because sometimes it annoys people, we gave people the ability to disable this LED in Camera Hub software. However, when you have a webcam in prompter, if it's glowing an LED light, it can cause light to bounce around on that other side of the glass, and that can cause some glare, or you might see some hot spots in your camera's video as a result. So for the webcams, you'd want to disable these LEDs. In our testing, we found that pretty much every other webcam does not let you disable the LEDs. So for some webcams, it's probably not going to be noticeable. It's really going to depend on your room's ambient lighting, basically. But if you notice that, you would want to take like a piece of tape, essentially, to tape over the LEDs. So webcams are a little special in that way, unless you have a Facecam or a Facecam Pro.
All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and move on and talk about Stream Deck. We had quite a few questions about how Stream Deck works with prompter.
Yes, let's do that. And actually, let me see if I can. Give me a second here, but I just need to set up a quick kind of picture-in-picture so I can show you guys what Stream Deck does together with prompter. Okay, so actually, I might be.
And then while you're setting that up, I'm going to go ahead and answer this question real quick. This is from Benny Central. They're wondering if we can use the prompter with Stream Deck Pedal. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
So all our Stream Deck is compatible with Prompter. They all use the same software, so you can definitely use Prompter with all the Stream Decks.
So let me.
Yeah, and if you don't have any Stream Deck products yet, download Stream Deck Mobile. You get 6 buttons for free, which is awesome. There's no like credit card sign up or anything for that. Just you get 6 buttons for free to test out, and whatever you add to those LCD keys, you can add to Stream Deck Pedal. The only thing Stream Deck Pedal can't do is like folders. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Well, you wouldn't really be able to see what folder you're in. It's a little
exactly.
difficult.
So it sort of makes sense, right? But yeah, that's what we mean when we say like, yeah, Stream Deck Pedal, you can do everything. I personally love using my Stream Deck Plus because if I miss something in chat, I can use my dial and I can scroll right back up there, and then I can scroll right back to keep up with everything. So that's my personal favorite use, at least for live streaming.
So what you folks should be seeing right now is my desktop with the Stream Deck software up, and you should be seeing a little view of a prompter. Again, this is a live view. This is what I also see. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Actually, let's see, maybe I can center it here. There we go. So you guys can actually see yourselves. You can, wave to yourselves virtually. And so this is the Camera Hub plugin for Prompter here. So you can see we added a bunch of new prompter controls. So we can kind of go through these one by one. Let me set up a new page here. So the first one we have is just prompter control. I'm going to drag that onto a key. And we have here play, pause, scroll, and select. Now play, pause, this is used for the text chat function or the text functionality. So if I switch over to text and actually activate that, and now I can press on Stream Deck and it'll actually start scrolling. So I can use this to then, if I'm reading a text, I can stop it. I can start it again. I can stop it, right? Pretty simple stuff. But super powerful if you think in the context of foot pedal, for example, Stream Deck Pedal, you could be going hands-free, and reading off of a script, recording a video. And if you need to jump back a little bit or you need to pause and unpause, and you can just use your foot and keep your hands free to help enunciate and, be more, be more lively. So,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
So
yeah.
It's really clutch. So when you think about like the professional world and how they use a prompter, they literally have like a person whose job it is to control the prompter playback. So they're basically making sure that the person who's speaking on camera is right on target. So they're not, a little too far ahead, a little too far behind. And so they're manually adjusting that speed. And so when you do like the voice control ones, like it does an okay job, let's say like 95% of the time, and maybe closer to 90. Because it'll like jump ahead or whatever. But when you're using like the auto scrolling, and especially when you use the chapter features, where basically you can make your chapters as many as you want. They could be a single sentence in a chapter where it's like, oh, if you messed up and you're going to need to record that whole take, instead of like reaching over, because when I would have like a phone prompter, I would need to like reach forward and then like scroll, by like swiping my finger a bunch of times. But when you're using the Stream Deck, you can just use the pedal to just backtrack a couple of chapters and then you're set. So even if you're like screwing up, like if you're new to a prompter, the Stream Deck integration really lets you just like redo it without having to like get up or do any like grand kind of things. You just tap a little button or tap your foot and you're good to go.
Yep. So that is let's see here, if I swipe back over. So there you could see, actually, let me go back to the text mode. There we go. You can also see that I can, using Stream Deck keys, I can move between, I can advance the script, I can go forward, I can go backwards. Of course, if you have a Stream Deck Plus, this also works with the dial. So if I go to, let's see, I drag this on there, and like scrolling settings, I can now, in the script, actually that's scroll speed, my bad. I need to flip this around. Which one is it? This one, there we go. Way too many different things. Now you can see using my Stream Deck dial, Stream Deck Plus dial, I can actually just scroll between, my different chapters here. Or if I'm in chat mode, and this is where it gets really cool, let's say I've got chat up here, and let's actually make sure that that is displaying. There we go. So I've got chat up now, and what I can do is using that same dial, I can actually scroll back in chat. So let's say I missed a message or something happened. I can scroll back and go, oh, hey, that was Imagine, Big Cheese says, ooh, Imagine sponsored streams. And I can go back to the beginning, right? So, and then I can also adjust the opacity again, right? If I actually want to see the folks I'm talking with, or if I want to, see you guys in chat and I want to see Steggy, then I can just adjust the opacity and we are good. Actually, it's catching Camera Hub there. I should probably move that out of the way. So you can see there's a ton of control options here. All of these, right at your fingertips. Of course, you can just do these in Camera Hub as well, right? This is not Stream Deck exclusive. So if I just move it over here, you can see I can switch between like my different channels here. You'll see it connects really quickly. I can pull up like the opacity, for example. Maybe I want to change the font. Do we have Comic Sans? We do have Comic Sans. Look at that. I turned you guys into Comic Sans. We don't have Webdings, do we? That would be quite fun. I don't think you can read it at that point, but it would be fun.
We were like debating, like we wanted kind of like a tight list of fonts, but I'm just like, you need to leave Comic Sans in there.
Absolutely.
Because I want to watch the world burn. So enjoy, everybody.
Oh boy. And just real quick, before we move on, there's something I do want to address. So I noticed the January back order date that's showing when you're trying to order prompter. So there is a miscommunication in our system, and we do anticipate this round of back orders should ship by the end of November. So just for a heads up for everyone in chat.
And our team is working on that. I think it'll be updated at some point.
Now, I will say the one exception that you could maybe get it a little earlier is if anybody's coming to TwitchCon, I believe we might have a couple prompters for sale. I could be wrong, but I think we might have a few prompters for sale there. I could be wrong.
I don't think we have them for sale, but we are doing giveaways. Yeah, we are doing a bunch of giveaways there.
So you come to our booth, you look at all the stuff, you pet the nice products, and then enter yourself in for a giveaway.
Yeah.
So the giveaway is actually going to be happening during our community meetup. So if you guys haven't already, join the Discord server. There is a little events information, events channel in the Discord server that says TwitchCon Las Vegas Community Meetup. It'll be on Friday, October 20th at 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. at booth 150, which is our booth. So there's going to be a photo, giveaways. So definitely stay tuned and stop by if you're going to TwitchCon.
All right. Yeah, I
I
hope
like
to
that
see
it
you
was
guys
just on
there.
Phil that entire time.
Let's jump back into it. Yeah, so where was I, right? We were going over, so this is like the font settings. So you are showing up as Comic Sans right now. You can, of course, control the font size, right? So, depending on the distance that you are from prompter, might be, maybe font needs to be bigger. You can make it really big. Obviously, if you have a really fast chat, then, well, then you might not see much, but you can, of course, also make it smaller if you are much closer. Yeah, back to the script. Let's get back on topic here. You can also change the margin. One of the things with a prompter is you want to make sure that to get the effect across that you're not scanning with your eyes left and right as much, right? So you're not kind of going left, right like that. Because if you're close to prompter, you can actually, and the camera can actually pick that up, right? You're moving your eyes in between it. And so you can use the margin to actually push in the chat, and it's doing this flickering. I'm sorry about that. You can actually push in the chat. And so now it's going to be a little bit easier for me to read, and it's more focused on the center of the prompter. So that way my eyes aren't moving back and forth as much. Then there's also text color. So for example, what we can do is I like to say, this is like the matrix mode here a little bit. If we then do, what is it? Like trebuchet? No, which one was the cool matrix looking one?
Comic Sans MS, obviously.
It's one of these. Yeah, impact font. There we go. Definitely. That's always a good one. Oh, there we go. Right. Now it looks like it could be like, Neo, welcome to the prompter matrix or something like that. I don't know. Is that okay to say? Right. So you can completely customize this. You can also flashbang yourself by making the background white if you want to. Yeah, sorry for that. I'm going to change it back to black. Heads up. I need like the flashbang sound effect.
But while you're actually on this, Phil, real quick. So a lot of people have been asking, like, does this work for YouTube comments or other streaming platforms?
Let me show you. Well, okay, let me just finish up real quick here, and then we'll dive into that. And then, of course, the last thing that you saw here is opacity, right? So you can just have it, only showing what's on the prompter. So, for example, in this case, chat, or you can kind of, have that go down all the way to 40% so that you can still see what's behind the chat. In this case, what you're seeing is what I'm looking at, which is actually the program we're using, and I'm seeing Steggy and then Jasmine's preview there. So those are all the different controls that you have. And of course, there's different channels as well. So what's really cool is for Twitch, this is specific to Twitch, and I'll talk about YouTube and others in just a second. If I want to add a new channel, I just click plus, and then, I could put in something like, I don't know, we'll do lyric. I can also give it lyric, I could do a different name here, something like that, and now hit add. And now actually his chat will pop up, which is kind of funny. So, you can have your own chat. You can have different channels in there. I can reconnect back, and we're back on the Elgato one. So you can have all your different channels in here. And of course, you can switch between those with Stream Deck. Then there's the text mode. And I'm going to change the font back to something a little bit more normal here. And so this is the text mode here. And these are what Jeff was talking about earlier. These are the chapters. And essentially what you can do is you can just take text, paste it in here, and then you have these different chapters. So, I can just type in here. And again, this respects all of the settings. You can see the settings for the font don't change on Camera Hub. They only change on the prompter, which is quite nice so that, it doesn't become too distracting. And then, if I hit play on this, it'll actually start scrolling, right? It'll take that text that I've written in here, and it'll just scroll that. I can adjust the scroll speed. If I'm a fast reader, then you can, make that go really fast. You can also stop it from auto scrolling between chapters. If you want it to basically stop at the end of one of these chapters and then go to the next one, you can do that. And we're going to be adding a lot of improvements here as well with things like undo, moving chapters around and whatnot. This is only really the 1.0 implementation of our chat or our text functionality. And the last mode here is just display. So right now, it's really just taking what, it's just a third monitor. So I can actually, this is Chrome here. I can take it off full screen and I can move it away. Let's say I want to, someone was talking about YouTube. I'm going to take YouTube and I'm just going to drag it onto, actually, let me open a different window here. I'm just going to take it and move it up there. There we go. Now I've got YouTube on prompter. I can make it full screen here. I can watch a video. I can browse. You can see what we've been doing, stuff like that. And, I can just watch a video if I wanted to. Now, someone was asking about, well, YouTube chat. Well, the cool thing is, since this is just another display, you can just take your chat. If we go back to our chat here, let's see. Oh my gosh, hearing myself, that's Streamception. So here's the YouTube chat, and I can now, actually, I'll do that on the main display, so it's a little bit easier to see. And I'll make it a little bit bigger. I can pop that out. Where's the chat control functions? There is usually an option to pop out chat. I believe it's up here. Yep, there we go. Pop out chat. So I've got chat here. Move that out of the way. And I can simply drag that on the prompter and make it full screen. There we go. Now I've got YouTube chat on prompter. Now this works for any service, right? So any service that has chat that you can pop out, or not even, I mean, you could just drag the window up there. But what you can do is you can just pop it out, drag it onto prompter, and then you'll have it on there. So this works for Kick. This will work for TikTok. This will work for pretty much anything. And if it's a little too small, what you can also do is you can just hit Control Plus on your keyboard, and it'll affect all of Chrome in this case, but it'll make the chat a little bit bigger, so it might be a little bit easier to read. So that is how you get
F11 it.
I did F11 it, yes. So this is already using the full screen mode. So again, It's not as ideal as the integrated Camera Hub version, but this is something we're working on. There's
so
this is just the 1.0 version of all of this functionality.
Yeah, one of the important things when speccing this prompter was to basically anything. So when you turn it on, the screen is backwards, right? Because you're always going to be looking at that screen through the mirror. And so what this does is it allows you to drag any application you want on it, and it's going to be the correct orientation. So you aren't going to be watching a mirrored YouTube video. It's going to look correct every time you do it. And what this does is we obviously plan on adding more to this software. This is what you call like the minimum viable product, like what we can launch with. It's all of our version 1.0 wish lists, because you could drive yourself nuts trying to throw everything under the sun. You'll never launch a product, right? So, we have things like looking to get, YouTube chat added to the chat function, everything like that. Sometimes there might be some hangups that you have to try and overcome. Like I really want TikTok chat, for example, because I think it could be really cool for TikTok lives. The problem is that right now, TikTok doesn't have a public API to access that. And so that's like a conversation, company to company, to see like what you can do there to make that happen, right? Or it might just not be possible in some instances. But what's nice is because we have this function where you could just drag a window on there. Yeah, the scaling options aren't ideal if you do it that way compared to like a native integration, but it still can get the job done. And as we take in community feedback of what we add next to Prompter software and Camera Hub or Stream Deck, etc., once we know that like people want to use Prompter for more things, right? Because we have an idea of like Zoom, live streaming, and scripts, right? Just the other week, somebody was like, oh, people were saying that this is going to be really cool for karaoke, right? That was something that none of us had really considered. But, obviously when you hear it, it makes sense, right?
Karaoke stream confirmed for the first
Yep.
time.
You guys can. But yeah, so as we kind of take this stuff in, we're going to learn like what we want to make, what we want to add feature wise on the software level next. But until then, we made it so that Prompter can sort of hit the ground running. So even if we don't have it available, you can do it, right? So like, for example, if you didn't like our teleprompting software, for example, right? Like you need the undo and we don't have it yet. You could go to qprompter.com and you could use their online teleprompter, right? You just drag it right on there and it'll work. It might not scale the same. It might you could use whatever you want on this. And that's the beauty of it. We've essentially kind of open sourced the capabilities of it just by simply flipping the screen. And actually one thing that we didn't talk about, now this only applies to Android, which is actually kind of funny because a lot of times that, the Apple iPhone guys are the ones who usually get things first. But this is, so basically for USB-C, in order to have a single cable doing power and video, we use something called DisplayLink. And DisplayLink is actually supported by Android. So if you have an Android phone, you can take a USB-C to C cable and connect your Android phone to Prompter, and then you can mirror it. And so that's really cool. So iPhone doesn't work with DisplayLink. That's why it just won't work, unfortunately. But with that, you can mirror your Android phone, and it's the same thing. So any app you want to view on your Android phone, it's going to be mirrored, because if you're downloading like a teleprompting app from the Play Store or the App Store, obviously there's going to be an option in the settings to mirror your text or to unmirror it. Any other app that you try to throw on there isn't going to work. So if you're using like a smartphone teleprompter, you're only going to be able to use it for teleprompting unless you want to look at a mirrored image. But with the Android connection, you get to see it correctly, basically, which is really cool.
All right,
Boy,
so we
that
have
was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there was a
And
lot
there's
to
a
run
lot of
through.
questions.
So there is a
It's an
ton of
involved
questions for you
product.
guys.
It's an
A
involved
ton.
product, so I'm ready for it.
All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and address all the questions. Many
I think
questions. Go ahead, Phil.
I think before we even do that, I want to point out again that if you are going to TwitchCon in Las Vegas this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we are going to be there. We have a really big booth, and we're going to have Prompter on display. We're going to have 8, 9 different areas that you can check out Prompter. We're going to have it in a stream pod. We're going to have it in a dedicated Prompter area. We're going to have it in 2 basically demo streaming setups. You can actually kind of sit down and try it. We're going all out, so you guys can check it out. You can see it there. You can see what it's like to sit in front of it, get a feel for the size and all of that. And there's also going to be some giveaways there, as well as I think we're doing a giveaway online. I don't know. I don't know about that kind of stuff, but yeah, definitely make sure to stop by our booth at TwitchCon if you're there. You really can't miss it. It's booth 150, but it's also going to be huge. So I doubt that if you're walking on the show floor that you will miss it.
And you guys gonna meet all of us there too. We're excited to see all you guys, chat with you guys, get to know you guys. So definitely stop by the booth if you guys are going to TwitchCon.
I'm packing like right after this. Basically, it's like shut down the stream. I'm packing and going.
I gotta do laundry. Yeah, like because we all fly out tomorrow, I think. So nothing like a good old product launch between.
No, it's like launch
right before the trip.
It was Marketplace launch last week, Prompter today, and then TwitchCon Las Vegas. It's been a busy month. But with that being said, since there's a lot of questions, let's try to go ahead and answer them as quick as possible. This question is going to be from DJ Techno. If Facecam Pro is placed behind the prompter, does the prompter's glass change the lens quality and picture quality of Facecam Pro?
So what happens is essentially like the glass is high quality, so it's not going to like degrade the image at all. What happens though is because it's 70-30, it's like 70% transparent, like 30% opaque, I think you call it. It essentially darkens the image a little bit. And so that's true of any teleprompter. So let's say you're using manual settings and you're at like ISO 300 and then you put it in prompter. You're going to want to bump that up to ISO 400 to get it back to the same brightness that you're at before. So that's really the only kind of quality change that you're going to see is the actual exposure level. And that's going to occur with any prompter.
And definitely make sure when you're handling it, the prompter, to not touch the glass as much as you can on the front of the panel itself, or especially the beam splitting glass. We do include a little cloth with
yeah, I was just about
prompter.
to say.
We include that in the box. Thing, by the way. Oh, nice. And
little pizza. Oops.
Isn't there a joke usually that when Apple includes their cleaning cloth that it has like firmware updates? Ours does not do firmware updates.
Now you just need an installment plan because it's $20. I actually really like their cleaning cloth.
But yeah, so any microfiber cloth will do the trick. We include one with prompter, which is really nice. You could, of course, use different ones. But again, really try to not touch the beam splitting glass because fingerprints, those are going to affect the image a little bit more.
Yeah. So what you could actually do, this is like surgery almost. Well, actually, what I will say is this. So I am somebody who will like, if I have like my prompter, so basically like the front side of the glass is a lot easier to clean than like the back side, right? If you have like dust or whatever, because to access the back side, you have to go through like the hole where the camera would go. And so in my experience when using the kind of smartphone prompters is the hole is like this big. And so you're trying to like stick the cloth in there and like get it all around. And it's kind of difficult. So when I would just sort of like leave the teleprompter lying around and I'd get dust in it, it was sort of a pain in the ass to actually clean it. But because of the backplate system, the opening on the back of our prompter is actually a lot bigger. So it's easier to clean that side. But also, if you actually just like kind of like pull the plastic up a little bit on prompter, you could actually take the entire glass thing out. Don't recommend that unless you're really confident about it. But it is a nice way to clean your teleprompter. And just so you guys can see the craftsmanship here, we should start charging $20 for this. We're basically Apple, right? I don't know if it unfolds anymore here. But we have the nice let's see if that'll show. See that matte black on black? Very nice. With the logo in it, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to show right now. Yeah. It's just there. Beautiful. Beautiful. $100, awesome. Please.
All right, let's do the next question.
All right, next question is gonna be from Starling Nice. They're curious about its secondary uses. So let's go and talk about all the uses as well while we're at it.
So we covered the primary kind of three, right? There's reading your chat, there's reading a script, and there's just using it as a second display that you can put anything onto. When we mean anything, we literally mean you can put anything on it. It's just like a monitor. Do you want to throw a YouTube video up there? Go ahead. Do you want to throw a game up there? Like literally, do you want to play, CSGO, right? You can actually get that authentic like low res or lower resolution experience by moving, you know, CSGO onto prompter. You can do that. You can play on it. It's 60 hertz. It's not 144, but it's 60. So you can absolutely play games on there. What else? I mean, if you're watching the, you know, the local game or something, you can throw that up there. It's really, it's literally anything. Karaoke was a great idea and a great
Yes.
suggestion. Well, I haven't tried it. Maybe we'll do a karaoke stream. No promises. But yeah, there's tons of things. I mean, you know, we have the
Yeah,
kind
we
of
have
our vision for it, but we're gonna see, you know, once you guys start getting prompt in your hands, we're gonna see a lot of cool things.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, probably tomorrow I think we'll launch it, because today as soon as the stream is done, just gotta render it out and put a few extra clips in there. We're gonna do the introduction and overview video for Prompter. Then tomorrow we'll probably release our 6 ways to use Prompter video, which basically outlines the reading scripts, reading Twitch chat, making eye contact with your Zoom calls, the karaoke, and the watching sports, because, you know, obviously you guys have all been in that meeting that could have been an email, right? Like it's just not every meeting necessarily applies to you. So as long as you aren't called on, you know, get that sports on there. And then the last one is if you're using PowerPoint, it's a really nice way to kind of stay on topic. You can like see your slides while maintaining eye contact. And you can also use PowerPoint's presenter mode, which lets you put like additional notes in the corner of the screen. And so it just lets you, it'll make you look good in front of your bosses. So if you're a working professional and you're doing a lot of telecommuting type stuff, it can be a really invaluable asset. The problem is, you know, be warned, if your bosses are used to you making eye contact like this, if you start playing like Words with Friends or something on your phone, it's going to be a lot more noticeable.
Yeah, if I start
than
looking
if you're
down
always
right
looking
like
off to the
this,
Does-
side.
like if I'm doing
So
this the
now
whole
when
time, and
we're
it's like, oh,
streaming and I'm doing this, you know, I'm on my phone. Whereas like before, it's just like, oh, maybe he's just like twiddling his thumb. Like, who knows, right? Because like I would just be looking over here. So like from here to there, not that big of a difference. But going from here to that, yeah. So
All right.
just think about that.
Next question is coming from Christopher. What's the maximum brightness of the built-in screen?
I want to say it's around. Don't quote
It's
me
not
on this. I need to,
HDR.
no, it's definitely not an HDR display, right? I mean, let's be realistic here. But I believe it's around 450 to 500 nits, as in it's bright. It's just as bright as any high-end panel these days. In fact, you know, that's brighter than a lot of normal computer monitors will get, right? A lot of them are around like 250, 300. I think it gets around 500. I will confirm that though, and we also have a tech specs article. We'll throw all of that information in the tech specs. It is so just to, I mean, really quick for the display, it's it's a 9-inch display, you know, diagonal. It's 1024 by 600. It's 8-bit, you know, so it's like a full color, you know. It's totally usable. Would I suggest color grading on it? Probably not, but it's a really nice display.
Awesome.
Yeah, and actually, what's funny is like, when we were initially like early days of development here, we were actually planning on a 7-inch screen for this. But then when we got our first prototype, we were just like, yeah, this is really small to see. And so like we needed to increase it. And so we played with a few different sizes, and this was like a really nice medium of like, I can see everything that's going on, but this isn't like imposing on my creator space, which is really nice. So the size is quite
it does
nice.
not. Bob Duck and Weave asks, does it bend like a flex monitor? And no, the display does not bend like a flex monitor. Please do not bend your prompter display. Thank you.
All right. Next question is going to be from Chris. They're asking, how does it work with PowerPoint presentations?
That's something which I might also be able to demo. The only thing is I got to try not to leak things. So let me see if I can pull up like a clean version of PowerPoint.
Sounds good.
Elgato plans 2025. Probably not that one.
The Stream Deck XXXXXXL. Yeah, don't leak that, please.
All right, let's try this one here. All right, let me switch to display mode again, and then I'm going to switch over prompter plus screen. All right. So I've got a very generic PowerPoint template up here. And you can see there's prompter as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move our other program off. So prompter is empty right now. What I could do is I could literally just drag and drop PowerPoint onto there and kind of just use this, right? There's notes at the bottom, so you can make this larger. But there's also just straight up the presenter view. So if I take PowerPoint and I turn it on like this, display settings, I believe I need to take this guy and then just drag that onto prompter like so, and there we go.
Yep.
So now it's actually using the presenter view, so you can see you have all your controls here, you have all the the different slides, and you have all the notes plus the next slide in a in a nice compact form factor. The other thing you'll actually see here is that my prompter does not have the Windows taskbar on it. That's because you can disable a setting where the taskbar is only shown on your main display and not your secondary displays. You'll want to do this because that gives you actually quite a bit of extra real estate. But yes, this is how PowerPoint looks on there. So now I can, talking to you guys and I'm presenting, these big numbers. Let's share our favorite things for telling stories effectively, blah, blah, blah. That's how it works.
Yeah. And, the next thing, it might be out of turn, Jasmine, I'm sorry, but I saw the question a few times. We didn't really address it too much, but somebody had mentioned the NVIDIA broadcast plugin. And Phil, we actually just added that today as well for Camera Hub, right?
Yes.
So we have nothing, I love a lot of the features that NVIDIA does, like the art, what do you call it? The NVIDIA broadcast for audio was one of the biggest game changers in the world. Especially because of what it does for condenser microphones. And so you might be familiar that they have a eye contact plugin. And as crude as it sounds, they essentially just paste eyes on top of your face. And that always makes eye contact. And honestly, I tried it out a little bit. But the best resource I would say for the feedback is probably EPOS Fox. Did a pretty good video on it, and what I took away from it is that if you're doing YouTube videos, it can be a little rough because if you're shooting 4K, the eyes are pretty noticeably lower resolution that they're doing. For streaming, it's not as big of a deal, but what you want to see when you see it activated is it's too much eye contact. It's always staring, and then there's just a second of looking, and then it goes back, so it's kind of weird. There's nothing wrong with trying out the software stuff first to see if eye contact is something that you could use more in your content. So I think of that almost as a free trial of prompter or just teleprompting in general. So we definitely invite you guys to try that out. But there is definitely if you consider the NVIDIA broadcast, the background blur plugin compared to a green screen, the background blur or the replacement with NVIDIA software is really powerful. It might get you 85 to 90% there. The eye contact thing gets you maybe 75% there. So yeah, definitely give it a whirl, but we see it as we see that as more of a stepping stone. So when you they don't work alongside each other, we see that as the free trial to prompter. When you compare the two, there's kind of no comparison in my humble opinion.
Thank you, Steggy. All right, next question is gonna be from Matsu XL. Could I use this by connecting a camera HDMI to USB-C and use it as a monitor without PC?
No, so
No.
this requires display link. So it requires a display link driver to basically communicate with a computer. So it is not I don't even know what the protocol is for USB-C that carries HDMI, which I don't really know, but you do need a Windows, Mac, or Android to connect.
Yep.
So yeah.
Awesome. Next question is gonna be from Ruben Has. They're wondering if it connects using USB, HDMI, or DisplayPort.
It connects using USB, and specifically the port on the display is USB-C, and we include a USB-C to Type A 3.0 cable in the box. You can, of course, use your own USB-C to C cable. Just make sure that it's a USB 3.0 cable, please. That way there's less chance for something going wrong. But yeah, It's just a USB-C port. Again, has to be connected to a Mac, a PC, or an Android device. And specifically on Mac and PC, you have to install Camera Hub to make sure that the prompter, at least you have to install it at least once. You don't necessarily need to use Camera Hub, like it doesn't need to be on, but you just have to install it once.
So one thing that I just want to take a moment to appreciate. So this is, let's see if I can. There we go. God, I feel like a makeup YouTuber or whatever, right? So if you see, this is a right angle USB. So when you put it on prompter, it goes straight down, so it puts less strain on the port, which is a nice little quality of life thing. And then it might be hard to see, but we actually like also label our ports. So this will say like 3.05 gigabits. So if you ever need like a replacement, or if you want to try to buy like a longer cable, something, you could see exactly what specs you need because we print them on our cables.
Yeah. And actually, somebody, what was the question? Somebody just had a question, but now I'm completely blanking. Never mind. Ignore me.
All right, next question is gonna be from Theory Game. How heavy is prompter? Does it mount to a monitor like a webcam, or do you need another stand of some sort?
That is a great question. Yeah.
If you can Google really quick, or go on the product page to get the weight, because I don't know the grams or the ounces or anything like that. But you're not going to want to balance it on your monitor or anything like that. It doesn't have any kind of mechanism to support that. It's actually not that heavy. So one of the things that we actually saw, we tried making this. So like it is like an all plastic body. And the reason for that is to keep the weight down, because especially when you use it with like a mirrorless camera, it docks right on there. And so the camera's holding the weight. So we didn't want it to weigh too much. And when we've seen people kind of makeshift their own prompters to use with PCs, they would buy like Atomos, however you pronounce it, or other field monitors that would have an HDMI in so they could connect their computer to it. But those have so much more going on internally that it would be like twice the weight of what our total prompter is. That being said, you still want to use some sort of mount. We recommend the multi-mount system. I've had colleagues asking me if like mini mount is a viable thing, and like you can mount it on there. It's going to depend. Like I wouldn't put a mirrorless and then the prompter hanging off the mirrorless, because it's sort of like a lever system. Like it's farther away. It's going to put more force down on the ball head. So that wouldn't really be advised. But on multi-mount, you can absolutely do that, no problem. So yeah, you could use mini mount if you're using it with like a webcam essentially, but if you're using like a mirrorless or any kind of heftier thing, you would want a multi-mount, I would say, at the minimum.
In terms of the weight, looks like chat already found it, but yeah, it's 1.52 pounds or 600 or 6,900 grams. No, not 6,900. 69.
Nice.
Yeah, 690. Is that a
nice?
Yeah, 690 grams.
That was intentional.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Next question is gonna be from Delta. What inspired you guys to create the prompter in the first place?
We kind of covered that earlier, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I started using a teleprompter probably back in 2016 or so, when I started doing it for the Elgato channel, just because I wanted to save myself time, because I always found it difficult to just speak off the cuff. I think actually ever since I started like YouTube in like 2010, I used to not have my face on YouTube videos. It used to be like my perspective, and I would actually also read scripts. So I've always been like somebody who types out a script and then tries to read off of it. And so when I started doing the Elgato YouTube channel, I was using a prompter, and there was back then especially, there weren't nearly as many options, and they were like really limiting form factors. And so I'm like, man, if Elgato can make one, I'd do this, and this. But it was such a niche product then. But it was really in 2020 where this project kind of kicked off, because we saw that people were using the kind of piecemeal setups for Zoom calls, like I was just saying with the Atomos things. But then we started seeing people were using it for their Twitch chat as well. And that right now is such a it's such like a niche kind of use for it, right? Like people don't think like, oh yeah, I should use a teleprompter so I can make eye contact with my chat. So we're really putting that type of use on the map. But that together with like what people are doing with video conferencing and the main use case that people have been using it for, which is script writing and script presenting, we thought that like this was the time to offer something. So yeah.
And real quick, I just want to address something one more time because I'm seeing some people asking about this or mention this again. So for the January back order that is showing, pretty much it's there is a miscommunication there. So we're anticipating around November is when it'll arrive. So don't worry too much about it saying January. That will be fixed and that will be changed as soon as we can. But I think most of you guys already know that because we did mention this earlier. But yeah. And then with that being said, let's move on to the next question. It's gonna be from, let's see. Under code, does Elgato Prompter have a way to show a script and Zoom call with transparency?
Yeah, that's with Camera Hub.
Yep.
So you would just
I could probably just pull it up real quick. Let me, or I mean, continue, and then I will, as I prepare the Zoom's got to update.
So yeah, so like that's why, you know, like I said, you don't have to use our prompting software. You could just like Google any online teleprompter that's Windows or Mac compatible. But when you use Camera Hub, one of the coolest features I think of our scripting is that opacity slider, because it's just a really easy way to just delete the background, and then you can see whatever you drag, you know, whatever you have on your prompter, you'll see that start to shine through. So if you have your Zoom call on there, like I said, we're all doing that setup, I think, right now. I'm viewing Twitch chat right now, but I also see Phil. Jasmine's a little hard to see because her webcam to us is the stream preview. So like we're seeing what you're seeing, but just smaller. So yeah, she's tiny compared to our webcam previews. But yeah, so I'm able to see all of us as well as chat.
So I'm trying to do a lot of different things at the same time here, but let me pull up the, let's do prompter again. Let's do this window. Okay, so I've got Zoom here, and again, my camera's already in use, so unfortunately I can't show you the camera, but right, this is a Zoom meeting. And imagine you take this and you move it onto, well, you move it onto prompter, and instead of right now it's showing Twitch chat, well, it is showing you guys, I can now move it over to text mode. And so now if I want to, you know, good afternoon, esteemed guests. Today, I find myself compelled to dive into a quintessentially quantum conundrum, you know, something like that, right? It'll be better, obviously, when you do it. But, you know, that's how it would look. So yeah, you have that opacity option. You have the option to just move Zoom on there because it's just a, you know, another display. So I can also then, you know, move Zoom off of there, and yeah, then we're back.
Awesome, thank you. All right, next question is gonna be from Kane Play Games. Prompters are often a piece of gear that many creators won't immediately consider for their creative process. While looking at the market for more personalized prompters, what were some features that you felt were missing and brought with the Elgato product that others may be missing? So in short, what makes our prompter different from others?
I think go ahead.
The biggest thing is the integrated display. The way that I've put it before is, my webcam I think shut off again. So the besides the professional teleprompters that cost a lot of money, the other prompters on the market offered only half the equation by having you need to provide your own screen, just because it still makes the overall system pretty expensive. So that's like the biggest differentiator. But then the other two things that were important were the camera compatibility and the field of view compatibility, because so many people who I've seen getting the popular smartphone teleprompters are just like, wow, I have to zoom in so heavily that it completely changes the look that I have for my YouTube videos, and I really don't like that. So those were like the 3 tenets that we were really aiming for when developing this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And somebody asked if it worked with the Corsair 6, with the Platform 6 desk. The simple answer is yes. The more technical answer is it depends on if you're using the Elgato multi-frame back, which is essentially this frame that gives you like a little pegboard and like stuff and additional mounting. That can, the mounting the prompter in that can be a little bit difficult because it's essentially just a flat back, so you don't have a lot of room to move back. But you can mount prompter on the side using like a mic arm, or you can push it off, or you can just pull the monitors forward. So but the simple answer is yeah, it'll mount to a Corsair Platform 6.
Awesome. I remember this question. I can't find it right now, but someone asked, are you able to use multiple prompters at once?
Yes. Yeah. So you can plug in 2, 3. I don't think we've tested much beyond that. We've definitely tested 2. Yeah, you just plug it in and they'll all show up. Now, Twitch chat or the text mode will only show up on 1, I believe. But, of course, you could probably just like display mirror over, from one to the other if you really needed the same content on all of them at the same time. But all of them will work in their default mode, which is just as a display. So if you plug in 3, they'll all just show up as display 1, 2, 3. You can just drag and drop windows onto there. Very easy.
Awesome. Next question is gonna be from Gamehead. They're asking, are we all using Facecam with prompter or different cameras? For me, I'm using Facecam Pro.
I'm also using Facecam Pro. I've zoomed it in a little bit because I don't want you guys to see everything that I've got going on. Although I will answer one question. Somebody asked if that's a Dreamcast behind me. No, that's a GameCube. I gotta prove that I'm a gamer.
I'm not good with shapes.
It's yeah. I gotta prove that I'm a gamer somehow.
I'm grabbing what's just within arm reach to give my cred. If you know, you know. This is my street cred.
Yeah. And okay, someone recognized all those boxes back there. Very nice. Yeah.
Little Kirby. Yeah. I am using the Sony ZV-1. I'm testing out the. I'm actually testing out the, what do you call it? The direct capture, and not liking it. I'm going back to Camlink immediately because I had it in 4K mode, and it just, so at first the battery it just like was draining when I was just using the battery. So then I got a dummy battery, but it's still just overheating doing the processing. So like it cannot do 4K. So I've dumbed it down to 1080p 60, hoping it doesn't do that. But now I know I'm a little less crispy, which I'm not a fan of. So yeah, Camlink's still the winner, even when I'm using such an expensive camera where it's like, oh, they got the built-in stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I want to try that.
I want to interject a quick question here, like skip the line. And for all of you folks watching this on a Mac, specifically on an M1 Mac or M2, you might be interested to know that because of the way that the prompter connects and the tech that we use, DisplayLink, it does not count as another display for your Mac. So like the base M1s and M2s have a limit of one external display over like HDMI or Thunderbolt or something. Well, prompter will show up as yet another one. So you could actually have your Mac, your second display, and your prompter. So that totally works.
We should almost do a dedicated video towards just that one thing, because like I remember when I first heard that thing on the Mac, the base laptops, and I'm like, you're joking, right? That's such a weird limitation to have. Just like a hard stop, like even if they're just like 720p, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hearing somebody that says the ZV-E10. Yep, ZV-E10 works with like basically any DSLR or mirrorless camera will work with prompter. What it really comes down to are the lenses, and that's really just going to dictate what kind of backplate you use. So if you have like the Sony cameras with that tiny little kit lens with the power zoom motor, we don't include a step-up ring for that size because you do not want to rest the weight of a prompter on a motorized zoom lens. You're going to be in for a bad time. So that you would use the camera bracket and the universal backplate, the little shroud covering it, and then you'll be all set. If you have like really wide lenses, you just, that's why we were making the compatibility test. So like if you're buying a lens, you kind of know which ones will work and kind of know what to expect. But yeah, if you've got a mirrorless or a DSLR, you're pretty much guaranteed that it will connect to prompter. It's just the, do you have to zoom in your lens a little bit, or whatever is the only question.
Awesome. Next question is going to be from Jim. They're wondering if there's an option that will allow them to mount it on top of their 27-inch display without an arm.
If you're really good at 3D printing, maybe. we do have like random we have different 1/4-inch thread mounts on there. Let's say that your monitor has like kind of like a pole that's like the monitor stand. You could probably buy like an Elgato heavy clamp, which is kind of like a C clamp, and then screw that on there and then give it a flex arm to kind of have it go off of there. You're gonna be in uncharted territory. So if things go bad, I wash my hands, but like, yeah, you can try. There's nothing against that. Just be prepared for a potentially sad day if something gives, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't recommend it.
Not officially supported.
Next question is gonna be from Jengu2. Will your software have script scrolling based on mic input built in, or will we need to use other prompter software pushed to the screen for a feature like that?
So we have a laundry list of things we want to add to prompter. Some of them are dependent on just like the time it takes. Some of them are dependent on like if we can do so. There is one app, the app that I used to use, I know they have certain patents on like voice recognition to like advance the things. And so you have to like, if people have a patent on something, you have to make sure you're not stepping on that, right? So it's like, okay, is there an alternative way that we can do like a, kind of like the same result, but a different method in order to achieve that? And so that's kind of like uncharted territory, whether that's like a possibility or not, right? So it's something that we're looking into. It's also a possibility that maybe we just like partner with one of those types of companies too, which like maybe we like promote their software, or we integrate, kind of like what we do with like NVIDIA, right? They have like an SDK that we tap into, blah, blah, blah. So there's different like levers we can try to pull in order to make that happen. But it's just, it's not quite the easiest, it's not quite like a simple yes or no in terms of like, when will it be there? Because it's not an easy feature for a multitude of reasons.
Would be cool though. I mean, right? Like that, between us here, that would be dope, right? If you just talk and it moves your script for you, would be dope.
And then I remember...
although...
Oh, no, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Jasmine.
No, you can go ahead and finish.
I was going to say, as somebody like as somebody who like has gone through it and knows its like shortcomings, I'm actually a really big fan of the dial support that Stream Deck Plus provides. I would say the one thing I would love is like a wireless dial that's like smooth, so I can control the stuff without causing any clicking, because I'd be like kind of
have you heard of Stream Deck Mobile wireless?
No, I want
control
camera hub. I want a knob.
Okay,
so
fair
in
enough.
any case, yeah, so like that would be like a really cool thing if there's something like that, or I don't know, like just maybe use foot pedal more or something. I actually do appreciate the manual control after sort of being at the whim of voice recognition, just because when it doesn't work, like I said, like somebody linked to my tweet earlier where I'm just like, hey, until our next video, and I'm just like, oh fuck you, because like it just kept screwing up on me. It kept like wanting to jump ahead like 3 paragraphs, and I'm like, let me I need to cover this part. It's important.
What we should do? The whole thing about dials just got me thinking. We should make a Chaos Stream Deck Plus, which is just one big trackball. But obviously the ball can roll in whatever direction, and it just has different commands in like 360 degrees. And so you just you're letting Jesus take the wheel at that point.
Yeah. No, this is how we come up with products, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, we just have stupid conversations like this. You ever see that TikTok ad of like the little ring where somebody scrolls through TikToks doing this on that little ring thing, and they're like, yeah, buy this to scroll on TikToks, and like, why would you do that? What if that little ring thing was Bluetooth and did it to
like a mood ring that you can then turn?
Yeah,
it's Bluetooth.
It's like a ring with a scroll wheel, right?
All right, guys, we have a lot of questions. Let's get back to the questions.
Sorry, I really like that idea though. Yeah, we're cooking.
right.
Let us cook.
All right, so there's a lot of questions about like mini mount that I saw before. So they're wondering if mini mount is compatible with prompter.
Yeah, it'll work.
Like I said,
you can
with certain
yeah.
setups, just try to avoid mirrorless cameras or DSLRs where like it hangs off of it. You know what I mean? I would say if you're using point and shoots or webcams, you'd be safe.
Mm-hmm. And
That's the thing is pay attention to basically the length, right? Because if you use a DSLR with the lens plus prompter, you're putting a lot of weight on. And I always forget what the term is, but it's like it's not torque, but what's like the weight? A lever. It's putting a lot of weight on like the front, right? And so you might run the risk of that. It's actually so heavy that the mini mount, the base is too small, basically can't hold it down anymore. So it just kind of falls forward.
So
yeah.
Yeah. So the farther away your weight is from the fulcrum, the more force it applies. So if I have a 1 pound object and it's here, like in the fulcrum's here, it's applying like 1 pound of force. If it's all the way down here from the fulcrum, this might be applying like 10 pounds of force, or, you know, you have to convert it to newtons or whatever. But yeah, so like if you have like a telephoto lens and it's on there and it's on mini mount, that thing is not going to hold basically, right? So yeah, that's just basically it's like just listen to your electronics and your gear, you know, like be like, does this feel like it's struggling? Do I feel comfortable leaving it this way? You know, and then that should help guide you. But yeah.
And as somebody said, in that case, like would their Razer Kio be okay? Yeah, that's totally fine. Your Kio webcam will work on prompter, just okay with a mini mount.
Turn off that light thing though.
Yeah, definitely turn
the
off
ring
the light.
that will bounce light all over. Yeah.
all right, awesome. And also, we do have a configurator as well for prompter. So if you guys want to check that out, the link is in chat right now. And that way you guys can see like
Want me to pull it up?
Oh, yes. Actually, that'd be perfect. Yes, please.
Let's see. Let's go to elgato.com again. And I will pull it up here. Actually, we'll start with this view. Center it. A little OCD there. It's got to be centered. You know, if it's a little bit off, that hurts. Okay, so if you go on our prompter page, you can scroll down, and eventually you will get to build your dream setup. I think there's also a link at the top. But essentially what you can do here is you'll see prompter, and then you can also decide right away, you know, do you want to get a low profile mic arm with it? This is actually a really dope setup because you can move the prompter, right? Like let's say you're using it and then you're done with it. You can kind of just push it away and move it away. Or you can just go with one of our master mounts. It's called telescope mount on here. You can also immediately, if you don't have a camera yet, you can pick up a camera as well, or a cam link for your DSLR. And then also, if you want to control it, you can of course get a Stream Deck. Or if you are wanting to test it first, you know, and not invest into a Stream Deck right away, you can get Stream Deck Mobile as well. So we have this configurator, and you see that you do get a little bit of savings if you pick up one of these other products in a bundle. So it looks like it's across the board just 15%, depending on whatever you pick. You can customize your setup here, and it's got this beautiful little visual to show you just how it would be set up.
Awesome, thank you. And I remember someone asking about FlexArm L, if that would be compatible as well.
It's actually what I'm using right now, and let me tell you that it'll work, but you do need to tighten it quite a bit, and you still need to pay attention to the weight. That becomes especially if you're using multiple pieces of the flex arm, right? Because it's not just one long arm, there's multiple. Yeah, go ahead.
That thing with the fulcrum we were just saying, it applies to that as well, right? So each link of flex arms that you add increases the distance between your your pivot point. And so like, you know, if the prompter is all the way over here, that's going to start to sink. Now, that being said, you know, when you have the flex arm on a multi-mount, there's only so much that a single flex arm can sag, right? So it's not quite a perfect 90-degree angle. It might be like that, but then it has nowhere else to sag. But if you're using two flex arms, then that like middle one, that could have it like swing out if you put too much weight or whatever. And so you want to be careful. One thing that I actually do is I'm gonna try to show. So this basically shows that like if I loosen this, this can fall all the way down here, right? However, if I have the wing nut either on top or on bottom, so if this is here, So this is loose right now. So I'm literally, because there's this piece here that this ball can't go. So like as soon as you turn it to where there's that like guide, essentially, this can fall like that, and so you have to tighten it. So if you make sure that your wing nut is either facing down or up, then it can't sag that way. Does that make any sense? And I'm sorry if you hear like handling noise of me. Like
That might also be a good thing to eventually call out in a video or talk a little bit more about some of the more, I guess, advanced / intricate / interesting mounting solutions using some of our other products. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm loving this, like, mic handling ASMR.
Yeah, I apologize. How beautiful does this look, by the way? Shout out Nacho Customs making this pretty. I'm styling right now.
Very stylish. All right, next questions can be from husband. Can you plug your iPhone into this and use it with the USB-C?
It does not work with iPhone. It only works with Android. That is due to essentially the display out. The tech that we're using just isn't supported by iPhone. It is supported through an app on Android. So yeah.
Yeah, so basically the only way, like, we have no control over that, right? So it's up to Apple and DisplayLink to
Awesome. Next questions
Fingers
can
crossed.
be from underscode. Can the screen or mirror be adjusted or tilted?
Can the screen or mirror?
No, it is fixed in its position. So you do not tilt it. It is at like the proper position to view your prompt, the reflection.
Awesome. Next questions can be from Paz. How do you emphasize the words in your script so that when you read it, your delivery is on point?
There's some tricks to it, but it's also just practice. I mean, if you're writing the script and you're over and over, you're reading it, and then you do a couple takes, eventually you just learn, what words to emphasize, where to, maybe, what's it called? Like when if you have a question, kind of like, is this a question or is it a question? Or, am I excited? So you just learn that over time. I think there are things that you could probably do which are like, maybe you bold a word or something like that if you need to remind yourself to emphasize it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just practice, really.
We're going to try to make a video at some point where it's just like kind of tips. Like one of the tips I always give is like, I'm always like kind of animated. I do like a lot of hand gestures because if I'm just staying here and I'm looking, you'll be able to see my eyes read prompter. And so I move my head, I'm doing this, and it kind of masks that kind of thing. One of the things that I find is like, this is less of an issue for content creators, but like in the news world, it's hard to find like a script writer that can write for your voice. And so like when you have like a news anchor or somebody that like hires somebody to write that, like they look for specific things. So like sometimes if somebody's presenting a script, you can kind of tell that like it sounds like somebody else. We've talked about when I've written scripts or I've edited stuff, people would be like, this, like if I read this out loud, I sound like like Steggy basically. But one of the things that I find helps in terms of like knowing where to emphasize stuff is if you have like a recent memory of the script, you have like an idea of where things are going. So I've made the mistake before where I've just like written 20 scripts in a single day, and then I haven't gotten to filming them until like a month or two later, some of those scripts. And then I completely forgot what I wrote. And so then when I do my first run through of the delivery, it sounds awful because I have no idea where it's going. However, when I write something like the day before and I kind of know like, oh yeah, I kind of remember where I'm going with this, then that really helps with the delivery. And so then you have to think less about remembering the words and more about how you deliver it.
Awesome. And also because we have so many questions, unfortunately we won't be able to get through all of them. But Jeff and Phil, I'm wondering if you guys would be interested in doing a Discord Q&A maybe sometime in November. That way we can answer all your questions in our Discord server.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically this just without the video, right?
Yep.
Or you just do another live stream.
I don't have to clean. It's great.
That works too. Why not?
I think, I mean, a Discord Q&A would be great. I think, though, I mean, really a part of this is actually seeing how the prompter, looks. So I would almost say we just do another live stream.
Yeah, we
Uh,
can do part 2, answering the rest of
yeah.
your questions.
Yeah, the rest or the other ones that come in. And, by that time, I imagine quite a few of you will have the prompter. So, you can also tell us what your experience is, the things that you are, the things that you're liking, the things you don't like, and, things that we can improve on, or maybe what your favorite features are. So, and maybe we just do a second prompter live stream. And,
Yeah, let's do that.
um, it's one of our most, I don't know if complicated is the right word, but intricate products, right? You have all these different components. You have the nuance great word. Yeah. You've got all these different components, you've got the mounts, you've got to make sure you've got the right angle, you've got the display, you want to make sure that the LED, right? You have all these different pieces. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of questions. So yeah, we can't get to them all today. I imagine we're just going to do like another 10 minutes here or so, right? Until 3.
Yep.
But yeah, let's just do another one of these.
Yeah, for sure. That way, because nuance. All right.
Great word.
Fulcrum. And for our German speakers, Gepäckausgabe. We did Phil and I were doing live chats earlier for people on our website. We were like experimenting with this stuff, and Phil was like, "Oh God, a guy hit me up with German," which is okay because like Phil can actually speak German and understand it at least. I'd be like, if anybody hits me with a German, I'm hitting them back with the Gepäckausgabe. Like it's the only word I know.
All right, moving on. Next question.
Sorry.
No, from Mercked, how do you get the text on prompter? Do I just paste my pop-out chat, select a browser, or can I use OBS chat window?
So there's multiple different ways you can do it. Earlier in the stream, I demoed that you can just pop out your chat and drag and drop it over. The OBS method is actually another really interesting one. And let me actually just show that here. I'm going to take OBS, let's see, custom browser doc. There we go. So what you can actually do is you can take your chat and you can give this doc a name. I don't know, I'll just call it chat. And then if you take the URL of your stream, so for example, I'm going to take the Twitch one here. I'm going to take the exact same URL that I get from popping out the chat. Oh, I hear myself. Let's see. Where's pop out chat, manage chat? There it is, pop out. So I've got the chat here, right? I'm going to take this URL and just plop it in here and hit apply. And what will happen is you won't be logged in necessarily, but you at least have a chat window that you can dock in OBS. But what's cool is this doesn't need to dock in OBS. What I can also do is, and I'm just going to go over to the prompter display here, is let's say that my prompter was not showing anything on it. It's just the display. I'm also going to take off this guy here. There we go, right? Just empty. I can move this window up there and then, whoop, not added in back into OBS. I can leave it on here. And the cool thing is if I now close OBS and I reopen it, this chat window will reopen and it'll stay there. So, you configure this once. I can just leave it. I can do my broadcast now. Hello, hello, hello. Test 1, 2, 3.
Is there any text scaling on there now?
No, I mean, it's just a browser window. So you might be able to do that via some like CSS. I mean, this is, again, super basic, right? Not that advanced, but it'll at least get you, again, if you're using a platform that Camera Hub doesn't have integration with, then you can use this as one method to do it. And it's nice because it's kind of set and forget, right? You can just use this as a a movable dock. And then like if I were to close OBS right now, it would actually close this dock. If I open it, it would reopen it right on prompter. So that is pretty neat.
Awesome. And then next question is going to be from Midwest. How far is the legible throw for text? Is it still readable if a step or two away from the desk?
It depends on the text size, right? You can adjust the text size or the font size rather to whatever you want, all the way down from 1 point. Okay, I don't think anyone would ever use that. I just said it to that, and that's quite small. All the way up to 100 point, and at that, at the size of 100, you're getting about like 3 words in before, like 3 lines of like 1 or 2 words. So it's really customizable. You can also do the margin, right? So you might be able to give yourself longer sentences or shorter ones, if you don't want your eyes scanning back and forth too much. So I would say that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet, it's all completely readable. Yeah.
Awesome. Next question is gonna be from your old dragon. Does this need to be plugged into the PC directly, or can you go through a hub?
So I think we all watch the Linus video where he connected 250 devices to a single USB hub via computer or something like that. Anyways, we don't suggest using a hub. We suggest directly connecting it to your computer, but a hub will work.
Oh, Phil? We have lost Phil, everyone.
And another one bites the dust.
And no one
What's
bites
his
the
excuse?
dust. Oh, there he goes. He's gone. F's in
All
chat.
right, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
All right, take it over, Jeff.
Yeah. Fielding any questions, bring it on. Let's
If
go.
you want to continue what Phil was saying.
Oh,
Oh, wait,
he's
is
back.
he back? Is he back?
That was weird. That was a little space-time anomaly right there. So I'm back.
And
We leave off.
wow. he comes back and then my camera shuts off again. Telling you, don't trust these built-in things. Something will not cause this overeating, I swear.
What were we just talking about? What was the question?
It was whether or not prompter needs
Technical
to be
issues, that's all.
plugged into
Right.
PC directly, or if you can go through a hub.
So yeah, I mean that had nothing to do with USB, by the way. I don't know. It's weird. My browser just refreshed itself. But yeah, so you can use a hub. Just make sure it's a powered hub, right? Like there's self-powered, as in you just plug in one USB cable to your computer, and then that kind of distributes power. Don't do that, because if you plug in multiple other USB devices, they all suck a little bit of power, and then prompter might not get enough. So get a self-powered USB hub that basically comes with a power supply, or maybe you have to use like a USB wall socket or something like that. And then the other thing is just make sure you don't have too many devices plugged in, right? Like if, let's say, you plug in prompter, a capture card, a camera, and some other stuff, and they all start kind of acting wonky, you might want to, switch up those USB ports a little bit.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see. And also just something to mention to everyone in chat. So we do have some commands that will link you to some really helpful articles, videos, and will help answer any questions for those of you guys who are new and just joining in. So this is going to be the link to where you can purchase Prompter if it's not sold out. Do not mind the text of it saying that, it'll be shipped next year. It will most likely be shipped around November. So that will be fixed in the future for anyone who's worrying about it. So you should be able to get it in November. So just give it a couple days or whenever it gets fixed, it'll be updated to let you know that.
We are working to promptly ship you your prompter.
And then the next command, this is gonna go ahead and show you guys what is compatible with prompter for all the cameras. Not everything will be listed there because we're still testing things out. So that's the best place to find out where or not your camera is compatible. And if not, maybe it's best for you to try it out or contact your manufacturer.
I'm going to jump ahead here on a question.
Okay.
We keep seeing when will Elgato make a USB hub? You don't even have to wait. There's not one from us, but Corsair, our lovely friends, they have a USB hub. They have Thunderbolt docks, they have USB hubs. I think it's called the USB 100, and I believe it is a self-powered hub. So you can actually get that. It's got some USB-A ports, some USB-C ports on it. It's a USB 3 hub, so go check that out. They've got a hub for you.
Awesome. And the next link is coming for the help article. So this is the best place to learn more about the technical specifications about and FAQ, all that good stuff. So definitely check all that out. And then this is like a YouTube video on how to set up Facecam Pro with Prompter. So those are all the commands there for anyone in chat who is wondering. And yeah, with that being said, let me see if we can. I'm trying to think of
questions. Something just rapid fire.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay, this is gonna be a question from, I believe, Frankie Magic. Will Stream Deck prompter settings work without the prompter?
No. As in, like you need a prompter hooked up so that Camera Hub can show stuff on prompter and that you can control it with Stream Deck. If that's
you also need Camera Hub open for Stream Deck's thing to actually activate it. Like when you click the action, it'll say, please launch Camera Hub. And then it needs that prompter and section open for everything to work.
All right, next question is gonna be from Theory of Game. Would prompter break Windows Hello authentication with a camera?
Well, then it would be Windows Goodbye. No, that's a joke. That's a good question. If the camera has infrared, I guess I don't know enough about science things. Would the infrared just go through the beam splitter glass? I don't. That's a good question. We'll have to try that one out. We'll get back to you on that one.
All
Stay
right.
tuned.
We don't think of everything, unfortunately. Never used a Windows hello. No, hello, goodbye, aloha. No.
All right, let's go and take this question. This is gonna be a question from that hyper guy. Is there a Stream Deck button to turn on and off the prompter?
Not yet, but it's something that we're looking into. Essentially, like prompter should obviously respect if your computer's off, prompter should be off. But we were also getting some questions in like our our like beta phase around, if you just want to turn it off to conserve power, that sort of thing. So we're looking into just basically turning off the display if you want to conserve power. Just, if you're not using it, then yeah. But it doesn't support that right now. Like there's no manual like sleep button or, like off button or control.
All right. Next question is gonna be from Delta. If prompter connects to a webcam, can it also function as a lens cover, or is that entirely different?
That's entirely different, right? I mean, you would have to cover the front of prompter, right? The point of a lens cover would be that you cover the lens. So in this case, you would actually have to drape something over the front of prompter to, hide it.
So here's the thing. If you're using a lens with prompter, you're going to be using the shroud, the universal backplate, which will go over it. So realistically, the lens does a couple of things. Like if you drop your lens, it prevents the lens from getting damaged from drops and scratches, blah blah blah. But then it can also prevent it from getting dusty. Now, generally, dust falls. So when you have if you have like a table, right? Like let's say that you have a table or a chair, and you leave it alone for like 2 years, the top is going to get dusty, right? But if you take the finger underneath the table, you're not going to get a layer of dust because dust falls. So when you have that shroud that covers the camera, it's going to prevent dust from getting onto there, right? Because it's not going to like float up essentially. So it can essentially act like a lens cap. Like you won't need to, you're not going to need to remove your webcam from prompter, put the lens cap on when not in use. That's not going to be necessary.
All right. So I think with that, let's go ahead and end all the questions there because we did go a little over time to try to address as many questions as we could. But unfortunately, it was a lot of questions.
Very seriously. He's like, I'm out. It's time to go home. I am out, not a minute later.
Yeah, but we will be planning either another stream or a Discord Q&A for prompters, so definitely keep an eye out. I definitely recommend joining our Discord server. That is the best place to probably get notified when we're going live next, as well as for any other events, upcoming events, such as, our community meetup at TwitchCon. It's going to be a marketplace Q&A in Discord. And we're definitely going to schedule another one for prompter. Might be on Twitch, might be on Discord. We'll let you guys know in Discord. So definitely join there. And thank you guys for stopping by. But with that being said, Phil is back. Welcome back, Phil. Is there anything you guys want to mention before we draw the giveaway winner?
I did not mean to Irish goodbye. I didn't just want to dip. No, I mean, I think prompter is kind of ushering in I don't know if it's not a new era, but it's taking content creation from something that's and just kind of digital interaction from something that's been a little bit apersonal, to, because we're all like, in this case, I moved my actual window over here, right? This is what it would normally look like. And, makes that, again, just a more personal experience, right? If I move it up onto prompter, now I'm looking up here, I'm looking at you guys. And so it's taking that, what we've all been experiencing, and especially, again, heavily during COVID, in broadcasting and meetings, and making that a more personal thing again. And I think that's really cool. It's been too long. So that's what I'm like kind of most excited about. And then also just frankly, all the details that went into prompter. I mean, it's got a lot of attention to detail on it. I mean, a lot of things were considered. We really tried to make this you get it, you set it up, and we hope that you get a little bit of that wow factor of just like, wow, that works, and oh, they thought of that, and oh, this screw, just like, I don't know, feels good to use because it's got the little like grooves on it to make it easy to turn. Yeah, like all these little things, the different back plates. I mean, you should just get this feeling of, okay, these guys actually thought of a lot of, thought of everything basically.
Oh, actually, this is something I do want to mention one more time because I believe I'm kind of looking for right now, but this is a question from Vic. I don't think I had it queued because chat was moving up. Oh, no, I found it. All right, so question for Vic: how does the prompter tie in with VTubers? So, if you guys didn't know, I am also a VTuber, but VTuber, I'm gonna plan on using this for like collab streams, reading chat, just like any other streamer, right? I don't think there's really too much of a I feel too much of a difference with that because I feel like anyone can use this. For me, I'm definitely going to be using it a lot for reading chat, especially because you can scroll up chat if you have a Stream Deck Plus because you can use the dials for that. So that way I can go ahead and catch up on chat. I don't have to alt tab to like try to catch up in case someone raids me and stuff. And also sometimes if I'm doing collab with other streamers, I do like to read their chat. So it would be really nice to have their chat up here as well, side by side with mine. Just kind of see, how that goes. And then if, versus like non-streaming, I'm probably gonna put like my friends' streams just on prompter and just watch their stream as I'm multitasking, doing something else. You can never have enough monitors. So I'm glad we have like a nice little mini monitor that you can use for whatever you want, watching other streamers, playing games on it if you want, all that stuff. So but yeah, with that being said, what's everyone's favorite feature of prompter? I want to see it in a chat. So I want to hear your thoughts, what you guys think about this, and everything like that. And on the next episode, maybe Phil won't DC so much. So
I'll tell you, I will not just be like, all right, I can't find my cam link. This is, I will make sure I have it because I was like, I'm sure this will work fine.
And he's back.
It did not work fine. Hey.
Wait, is this camera
Good thing
frozen?
Jasmine is that good old reliable that we can count on that won't have the internet.
Oh, he's gone again.
And honestly, I'm on wireless internet. That's why when people are like, oh, Steggy, do you want to host? I'm like, it's not a good. I don't like the odds.
Oh boy. All right. So yeah, someone please stay Phil. Phil, I hope you're okay. If you're listening on your mobile or something, But with that being said, I think we're gonna be ready to draw the winner. So if you guys already typed the keyword, you guys only need to type it once. Typing it multiple times won't give you multiple entries, just so you know. But let me go ahead and get this ready. Here we go. And as you guys already know, you guys do need to be present. Otherwise, the winner will be redrawn. You have a minute to say something in chat before, we draw the winner. So the winner is gonna win a prompter and a Facecam Pro. So good luck to everyone here. And don't worry if you miss out, because if you guys are going to TwitchCon, we are also giving away lots of prompters during the community meetup. So make sure to join the Discord server for more information on that. But with that being said, drum roll. Chat, you guys want to count down with me? Countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5.
A lot of fours still. There's still a lot of fours.
And... One! Phil is back! Alright, who's the winner? Keklar, are you in chat? Keklar, you are the winner. Are you here? Type something in chat to redeem.
Oh,
yes, they are!
Keklar is there. I was able to do it
Congrats.
while maintaining eye contact. Thank you, Prompter. And Keklar will know the joys of Prompter now too. Woo!
Woo! Alright, Keklar, just so you know, make sure your Twitch DMs are open. I will be reaching out to you via Elgato's Twitch account. So make sure it's open so I can reach out. Otherwise, I won't be able to reach out to you. So just make sure, okay? But yeah, give me about 30 minutes and you'll receive a message on how to redeem your prize. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for being here, and can get some hearts in chat for Phil and Steggy for being here and helping answer all your questions. So we'll hope to see you guys next time. Join the Discord if you guys haven't already, alright? Join it.
And we hope to see you at TwitchCon, if that wasn't already said.
Oh yeah.
And until our next stream.
Till our next stream. See you guys.
Stay classy, San Diego.